Copyright 2025 by Alex Hajima. All rights reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, photocopying, recording, or otherwise, without the prior written permission of the publisher, except in the case of brief quotations used in critical articles or reviews. This is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and incidents are either products of the author's imagination or used fictitiously. Any resemblance to actual events, locales, or persons, living or dead, is entirely coincidental. Published by Meadows Publishing. Cover design by OpenAI. For permissions, contact alexhajimareal@gmail.com. Special thanks to Robert, Diana, Sara, and Alessia. Your support and encouragement made this story possible. He hunts magic. He bleeds it. In more Caley, magic is outlawed, dragons are bound in chains, and loving the wrong person can get you burned alive. Jace Monroe smuggles dragon blood on the black market, a crime punishable by death. Reed Carter is a royal enforcer with orders to kill him on sight. But when a rogue dragon escapes the capital and sets fire to the fragile peace, Jace and Reed are forced into an uneasy alliance. What begins as survival becomes something far more dangerous, a pull neither of them can ignore. In a kingdom built on secrets, the wildest thing you can do is trust someone. The deadliest. Fall in love. Prologue. They say the dragons used to sing. Before the fire wars. Before the bindings. Before magic was carved from the bones of the world and sold by the vial, drop by bleeding drop. Back then, the skies over More Caley were never silent. Wings darkened the sun. The air shimmered with raw, living power, wild, ancient, and untamed. Dragons weren't beasts then. They were gods with breath made of starlight and eyes older than time. They chose who lived and who burned. That was before the kings got clever. No one knows who forged the first collar. Some say it was the High Magisters of Ashran. Others blame the southern alchemists who melted iron with blood spells. But it doesn't matter. The moment the first dragon fell, screaming, thrashing, shackled by rune-wrought steel, the age of wonder ended. And the age of profit began. Now, dragons don't soar. They sleep in underground vaults, drugged and bound, their magic siphoned and sold like opium. Magic isn't sacred anymore. It's currency. It's poison. It's power, hoarded by nobles, trafficked by smugglers, feared by the very people who once prayed to it. In the capital, they call it justice. In the east, they call it survival. But in the north, in the old, half-buried ruins where the wind speaks in broken tongues, they still call it blasphemy. Because magic remembers. And so do the dragons. Beneath the jagged cliffs of Cairn Vale, where the black coast meets the sea and nothing grows, one dragon stirs. Her name was erased from the royal archives. Her wings were shattered, her fire silenced, her heart nearly ripped from her chest. But she lives. And tonight, for the first time in 200 years, she opens one golden eye. Far away, in a smuggler's den lit by dying candlelight, a boy bleeds fire onto stone. In a palace of marble and lies, a soldier dreams of things he's sworn to kill. And across More Caley, the wind carries a new sound, not quite a song, not yet. But close. The chains were forged in silence. Not because the kings feared noise, but because the dragons could hear thoughts, and fear was louder than screams. It's said the forge masters of Arvel poured molten iron into grooves carved with 1,000 names. Each name belonged to a child sacrificed under moonlight. Not for cruelty, no, cruelty was just a bonus. The sacrifice was for precision. Power. Anchoring. The old magics demanded a price, and kings paid it with skin and blood, like always. They wrapped the chains in prayer cloth soaked in blessed oil, spoke 10,000 oaths in dead languages, and fastened them around the throats of gods. And when the first dragon fell to its knees, not by blade, not by spell, but by obedience, the world changed. The sky went quiet. The flame died in the hearts of the mountains. The creatures of old, once kept in check by dragon song, scattered or starved or descended into madness. Magic recoiled into shadows, feral and volatile, hiding in the marrow of mortals too weak to carry it. And More Caley began its slow decay, gilded on the outside, rotting underneath. They still use dragonfire in the royal forges. You can taste it in the steel, if you know what to look for, that sharp tang, like burnt honey and blood. You can feel it in the cold coin that passes from hand to hand in the black markets of Windmere. You can see it in the nobles' eyes, glimmering with the thrill of borrowed divinity, brief and bright and utterly stolen. But magic is a hungry thing. And dragons are not meant to be forgotten. Beneath the fortress of Etherholt, where bones are stacked like stone walls and even the rats whisper in sleep, there is a heart still beating, slow, steady, and deep. Not all dragons were caught. Not all of them broke. There are whispers now. Quiet, dangerous things passed over ale and smoke. A dragon's eye seen in the storm above Dornay. A ruined temple glowing red at dusk. A boy who bled gold. A soldier who didn't report it. A storm is coming, the old seers say. Not of rain or wind, but of flame, of reckoning, of gods remembering what it felt like to fly. In the 3rd district of Windmere, deep below the street merchants and sunlit squares, a man lit a candle with stolen flame. It hissed to life, not yellow, but blue, and hungry. The man's hands were wrapped in cloth. Not because of the cold, but to hide the scales. He wasn't the only one hiding. Magic had gone feral in the Undercities. Not the clean, curated kind harvested from state-licensed dragons. Not the soft spells etched into noble rings or court gowns. This magic was raw, burned at the edges. It fed on grief. It came when you bled too close to a broken altar, or whispered your name to the wrong thing in the dark. Children vanished. Men came back from the mines with glowing eyes and empty minds. And still the high crown said nothing. Still the nobles drank from their chalices forged in dragonfire and smiled with teeth too sharp. But the cracks were widening. And far beyond the reach of any royal decree, past the northern fjords and snow-buried forests, something impossibly old was stirring. She had not been seen in centuries. Not since the last dragonborn king knelt at her feet and begged for mercy as his city burned. They had buried her name beneath 10,000 lies. But her bones still knew fire. Her wings still remembered the wind. And her rage was a tide waiting to rise. From the crumbling towers of Windmere to the gilded spires of Etherholt, the kingdom of More Caley stood quiet. But silence is not peace. It is the breath before the scream. And somewhere, beneath scorched stone, behind a boy's burning eyes, or in the pages of a prophecy long torn in half, the fire was coming back. Not tamed, not traded, not bound, just flame, and vengeance.